Oh, it is Wednesday. What's up, everybody? I heard there's some stuff, some Delphi, some Idaho. Goody good. CJ praying, thank you. I got a little bit, not much. A little bit. Happy hump day. Camel, where you prefer? Thanks, Carol. That shit's funny. What's up, Phantom SRB? Justice Surf Daily. What's up, Kim Kitty? Yes, hope everybody had a good day. Yeah, I think everybody's getting some kind of sickness. What's up, Cassie? Doing good. Ready to have that baby? Ready. Hey, Baptisma. Got your earbuds. So there's 3 photos circulating around from Delphi. Shoe, shirt, and undies. Really? Send it to me? Okay, I'll check the email. I know a shoe and underwear were found in the water. The music wasn't playing? Hey, is your YouTube stuff fixed, SRB? I heard Summerwell's parents passed polygraph. Yeah, there is. Oh, interesting, SRB. Huh. That's very interesting. Liberty Rose. That's cute. Bart. Punksy. What's up, Punksy? I saw I got a message from you. I'm sorry I wasn't able to check it yet. I came home. I started doing my prep and I was passing out in my office chair. I was like, oh shit. So I went ahead and just took a nap. Real quick, and then I slept in longer than I thought. I just pooped. Punksy! Yeah, it's hump day. Soon, right? SRB. Alright, let's turn this music down. Get into the goods. Let me check my email real quick. Where am I at here? Okay, there we go. I'm trying, Pam. I'm trying. I just can never get enough right now. And I keep having shitty nights of sleep, too. I keep waking up all night. Alright, let me check my email here. 3 photos. Brian Walsh allegedly searched Google 21 times before. Whoa. Okay, 3 photos. We got timestamps. Thank you. 1452 is the first one. And we got a Brian Enton Twitter Spaces thing coming up. Let me go ahead and like it. I'll subscribe. And let's see, 1452. Okay, there's the shoe. Damn, look at the watermarks over this fucking thing. Holy shit, dude. Is this your photo? Why are your watermarks all over it? Damn. $14.52. Let me check the other one here. $18.45. Okay. I suppose that does look like a sock. Oh, shoot. It's not sharing the right one. I'm sorry. I thought it was already sharing it. Sorry about that. And here, I'll go back to the other one. 1452.
Just here we go.
There's that one. Is this an article or something right here? Let me see. Let me go to chat real quick. A humidifier. A humidifier. No, Pam? I don't think so. Yeah, how's your ulcer doing, Punksy? Brian has more evil behind his story. Brian Koberger? I mean, I'm sure he did him for a reason, but damn. Did he pay for him or something? I don't. If someone didn't take the photo, why are they? That's what I was curious. Like, I don't think those are his photos. So, shouldn't they be saying like Department of Delphi or something? PD? Watermark. Was anything? Was it one of the girls' shoes? Yeah. One of the shoes was missing. All right, and then the next is 2040. Thank you for this, Phantom. 2040.
Then in the bottom corner, we...
Okay, so I see the shoe. So this is a different angle. I can't believe they just left the fucking shoe there. So... These are the 3 pictures from Delphi. I wonder, what are these things? What's the white and the bluish pink thing? Oh, I heard Murphy has an Instagram now. Yeah, there's some stuff we didn't go through in the Delphi stuff. Idaho stuff. Let me see. I'm just kind of going through this real quick. The breaking, just kind of updating everything up to the minute here. and we will get into it. There's a few more things that have came out since. Okay. All right, I think I got it all now. All right. So when did Murphy start the Instagram? I think moved to wash off. Oh. This photo is water from police underwear and shoe were found in Wabash. I think moved to wash off. Really? Someone's searching. One of the girls' tie-dye shirt. Huh. Interesting. Let me see here. Just seeing if I see the... So this is the... Okay, so this is the... Let's see. So this is a search warrant for Koberger. Ooh. All right, let's see this. Let me save these. All right, got it saved. How many pages do we got? 6, 7, 8, 9. Holy crap. 49. All right, so this is Koberger's search warrant for his apartment. Okay, so that was yesterday. It was released. Let me see here. The court must weigh. Let's see, just a bunch of legal. Burglary, murder. Let's see, so there's the address. Let's see, so this is a... Trace evidence. Wow, they really got to spell this out, don't they? Anything. Promptly. So that's the 29th. Redacted. Evidence. Okay, let's see. I'm just kind of skimming through this real quick. Assist in their investigation. Let's see. So those are redacted. Wow, it even put his phone number out there? Oh, wow. Yeah, I got that, Cassie, on video. Zip tied the hand or something. We figured we'd check that out a little bit. Sheath was recovered. Let me see. Okay. Does it have a list? Okay. I wonder if that has anything different than the PCA. I'll have to read through that sometime. I'm just trying to see what they got for evidence here. And I'll throw this link in chat here in a second. I'm just trying to skim through this here and see. There's a lot in this. Da, 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 da. Oh, here we go. One nitrite, nitrite type black glove, one Walmart receipt with one Dickies tag, 2 Marshall receipts. Dust container from Bissell Power Force, 8 possible hair strands, 1 fire stick, 1 possible animal, 1 possible hair, 1 possible hair, 1 possible hair, 1 possible hair strand, 1 computer tower, 1 collection of dark red spot, 2 cuttings from uncased pillow of reddish brown stain, a nosebleed maybe, 2 top and bottom of mattress cover packaged separately, both labeled C, multiple stains. What? Multiple stain. The bottom and top? Huh? That's weird. The bottom and top. The bottom and top. I don't understand that. Need phone charger. Is that for me? If so, timestamp is 5:35. $20 pages redacted. Okay. Good grief, what's wrong? Yeah, he tried to zip. Yeah, I've seen that come across my break-in feed. I was like, what the heck? Through a drive-through window or something? But it's on here. Just keep scrolling. Nothing new. Okay. They see it, they take it. I'm not seeing any official photo. I hope it wasn't a searcher. Don't we? Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah, I wonder where these pictures came from. If I read it, it would just take up probably an hour. I can do it later on. Yeah, I'm thinking nosebleed. Let me see if Brian Nenton's got his Twitter Spaces up here. 1 second. Oh, it's 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central. So we got an hour. Okay, let me see here. Search warrant. Let's see, breaking. Okay. So we're good there. Let me go to my Twitter messages. Okay, and then that's from Brian. Sorry, I got to that late. Nice. Thank you for that, SRB. And you know what? Let me get to some of your videos here. It's a crying shame. Okay, is reading. We might read that at the end of the show. Sports show humor with bubbles. Cool. You know, let me add that to my sports. Man, I got so much stuff for my sports show whenever I have a sports show coming up. I'm gonna do it when there's not an actual game going on. That way I can cover all sports. I kind of was bummed out a little bit not being able to cover more. All right. Let me see. Sports show. I got that added. Brian Walsh allegedly searched Google 21 times before and after Anna Walsh. All right. Disappeared. So we'll go to this real quick. Why won't it let me share? Did my share go away? It did. What the heck? StreamYard? Here it is. Okay. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Here it is. Brian Walsh allegedly searched Google 21 times before after wife Anna Walsh was killed. Brian Walsh allegedly searched for information about disposing of a body after killing Anna Walsh in Cohasset. At 4:55 a.m. on January 1st, he searched how long before a body starts to smell. How to stop a body from decomposing. Let me watch this video here. Oh, Pam, you think that's why the garbage disposal... Oh. You think that's why the garbage disposal was because of a journal? Let's see. Could be nosebleed. I already read it. I have to remember that name. He left clues on purpose. I know, isn't that interesting? Like a possible animal hair or something. I'm waiting to learn Brian Koberger and game right. So right? Right. Unless he just thought he was so fucking smart. Right?
Mr. Walsh, between 230318.
Not smiling today, huh?
Assault, the beat on Walsh, intent murder, that person. Also charged with returning of a body, did with elbow off to authority, did willfully dig up or remove human remains. Not guilty, pleas will be entered.
Do you understand those charges, Mr. Walsh? I do. We'll hear from the Commonwealth.
Yes, thank you,
Your
Your Honor.
Honor, we're not contesting bail or probable cause, so we would ask that he be released.
Thank you, Ms. Lyons, but I have to satisfy myself with probable cause. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Lynn Beeland for the Commonwealth. The defendant is now before the court charged with murder of his wife, Anna Walsh, as well as disinterring of the body. Anna was 39 years old and mother of 3 children, 2, 4, and 6. Anna worked in Washington, D.C., splitting her time weekdays between D.C. during the week and staying in her house in Cohasset, where she lived with the defendant and their 3 kids. On January 4th of 2023, the Cohasset police received a call from her Washington, D.C. employee indicating that she was missing. She was due to report to work on January 4th, but did not appear. She had a flight on January 3rd from Logan to D.C., which she did not board. Cohasset police went to their house at Chief Justice Cushing Highway for a well-being check. It was only at this time, when they met with the defendant, that he first reported his wife missing. Defendant stated his wife left the house at approximately 6 a.m. on January 1st, New Year's Day. He stated she took an Uber or a Lyft to go to the airport, that she was returning to DC for work. Records were checked and there were no Uber or Lyfts to that house on January 1st. Defendant said he had not spoken to his wife since the early morning hours on New Year's Day. The Cohasset police were granted permission to ping on his phone to locate her or her phone. Anna's phone indicated that it was stationary in the area of the Cohasset house on New Year's Eve until 3:14 a.m. on January 2nd. There were no outgoing calls made at that time, and at 3:14 a.m. on the 2nd, it was turned off. Defendant stated Anna should have been wearing a dress, a black jacket, hunter boots, watch, ring, as well as carrying a Prada purse. Defendant gave a time of 6 or 6:10 a.m. on the 1st when he last saw her. What I'd like to do now is just describe his actions in the days from January 1st. Defendant indicated on January 1st at 3 p.m. he did some errands and went to his mother's house, but got lost because he didn't have his phone. He said he knew it was lost when he saw the pirate ship on Route 1. Defendant stayed 15 minutes, then went to Whole Foods and CVS. Surveillance was checked and he did not enter either of those stores. On January 1st, defendant Googled using his son's iPad. Some of his searches are as follows. Keep in mind that the defendant said he left at 6 a.m. At 4:55 a.m. on January 1st, he searched how long before a body starts to smell. At 4:58 a.m., how to stop a body from decomposing. At 5:20 a.m., he searched how to impound a body. At 5:47 a.m., 10 ways to dispose of a dead
No
body
emotion.
if you really need to. At 6:25 a.m. on the 1st, how long for someone to be missing to inherit. At 6:34 a.m. on the 1st, can you throw away body parts? At 9:29 a.m., what does formaldehyde do? At 9:34 a.m. on the 1st, how long does DNA last? At 9:59 a.m.
How long
an
does
identification
DNA
is
last?
made from partial remains. At 11:34 a.m., dismemberment and the best ways to dispose of a body.
Wow.
At 11:44, how to clean blood from wooden floor. At 11:56 on the 1st, luminol to detect blood. At 1:08, what happens when you put body parts in ammonia?
Whoa.
At 1:21 p.m., is it better to throw pipes and clothes away or wash them? Those were on the January 1st. There was also information gained from the defendant's phone, which showed on January 2nd, he was at Home Goods.
Whoa.
There were also more Google searches on January 2nd. At 12:45 p.m., hacksaw best tool to dismember. At 1:10 p.m., can you be charged with murder without a body? At 1:14 p.m., can you identify a body with broken teeth? On January 2nd,
Whoa.
the defendant was seen on surveillance at the Home Depot in Rockland. In checking the surveillance, the defendant was observed on security camera fishing a car. Items included cleaning products, mops, brushes, tape, towel, a Tyvek suit with boot covers, buckets, goggles, baking soda, a hatchet. He had a face mask and rubber gloves on at the time he was pushing the cart in Home Depot. At 5:32, he was seen at the Derby Street in Hingham, now removing the gloves and the mask. Data from his phone also tracked his whereabouts on January 3rd. Locations were traveled at 4:27 on January 3rd to an apartment complex in Abington. Surveillance shows the defendant's Volvo, as well as the male giving the defendant's appearance, exit a car near the dumpster. He walks to the dumpster carrying a garbage bag. He's leaning, and it appears to be heavy as he has to heft it into the dumpster. He walks to the dumpster with the garbage bag and leaves it. On 4:48, we hit another complex in Abington, and at 5:10 p.m., cell phone shows records at another apartment in Brockton. Video shows a party consistent with his appearance and his Volvo. Again, he discarded items in the dumpster. On January 3rd, that same day, at 1:02 p.m., he did some more Google searches. What happens to hair on a dead body? At 1:13 p.m., what is the rate of decomposition of a body found in a plastic bag compared to at 1:20 p.m. can baking soda, mask, or make a body smell?
Wow, this dude searched it all. Holy shit.
The defendant went to Home Goods and TJ Maxx. He purchased towels as well as bath mats and men's clothing. At 4:15 that day,
Wow.
he went to Lowe's where he purchased squeegees and a trash can. On January 4th, when Passett police went to the house on the
He's wearing the same shirt.
officers observed his Volvo with seats down and a plastic liner in the back of the car. The next day, a view of the Volvo showed his seats folded down, floor mats with some dirt, and the carpet appeared to show fresh vacuum streaks. When asked about the liner, the defendant said he threw it in the trash. Chemists later analyzed the car, and there was present blood in the car. On January 5th,
Now he's like, oh shit.
And phone showed his phone travel at 8 a.m. First he stayed here and then to Swampscott where his mother resides. The phone traveled to the complex where his mother lives at 9:30 a.m. Went for about 5 minutes around the building to the southeast corner. In the southeast corner of that complex is where there is a dumpster. The dumpster was later secured and searched. On January 8th, police and crime scene services searched the house in Passett. They found blood in the basement, a knife with the presence of blood. The knife was damaged. A second knife was also found in that basement. In addition, there was heavy-duty large top plastic liners purchased from that Home Depot trip. As part of the investigation, police checked for activity on honest credit cards, bags, flights, trains. There was no activity since she was last seen on January 1st. Police also tried to track down what happened to the bags that the defendant was seen throwing in the dumpster earlier. This was over in Abington. These bags and what was in them were already picked up and taken to a location for shredding and being incinerated. By the time police located that, they were already destroyed. However, investigators did secure and search the dumpsters from defendant's mother's complex in Swampscott. It was searched at a transfer station in Peabody. Investigators recovered 10 trash bags. Inside the trash bags, many of these items contained stains consistent with blood, infected lot. Among the items secured were towels, rags, slippers, tape, Tyvek suit, gloves, cleaning agents, carpets, rugs, hunter boots, Prada purse, a COVID-19 vaccine card in the name Alana Walsh, a hacksaw, a hatchet, and some cutting shears. The purse and boots were described as what Hannah was last seen in. A portion of the rug was heavily stained with red brown stains. The substance was consistent.
Good evening, Ava. How are you
Also
doing
had
tonight? And
soda
thank you for
on it.
hopping in.
There
And
was a
I
portion
totally
of the
feel
necklace
you.
consistent with
My
one
gosh.
that Anna had been seen wearing in photos.
The
The
evidence
fake contact
is
on
ridiculous.
testing on certain selected items that were recovered from those trash bags. There was human blood found on them, and then it was sent for DNA testing. The findings are as follows. On the slippers in the interior, Anna and Brian Walsh were contributors to the DNA on those slippers which had blood on them. On the exterior, Anna and Brian Walsh contributed to the DNA found on those slippers. The Tyvek suit. On the interior cuffs, Anna and Brian Walsh contributed to the DNA that was left on them. On the exterior left pant leg, Anna Walsh contributed to the DNA. On the interior right sleeve, Anna Walsh was a contributor to the DNA that was found on the Tyvek suit. There was tissues which found that Anna Walsh contributed to the DNA. There was one other earlier Google search, which you'll note, on December 27th, defendant Googled, what's the best state to divorce from there? Rather than divorce, it was believed that Brian Walsh dismembered Anna Walsh and discarded her body. The bags were later discarded.
Wow.
Anna's property and the items used to clean up, as well as the DNA.
Wow.
The Commonwealth is asking the defendant to be held without bail for the murder of his wife.
Wow.
You heard it all.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Defendant will be held without bail pending indictment. We would take probable cause, or if he's doing it, give us a
Not at this time, but I will. Your Honor, we have a date of February 7th already for the, February 9th, if we want to put it on for status on that day.
And that's by Zoom, Your Honor, correct?
You
Thank
want
you.
status date or probable cause?
Status date is fine.
February 9th for status.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, sir, you're held without bail until February 9th, 2023, for a status date.
Well, so thank you.
Wow. Crazy shit. Dude, I thought he literally just Google searched a couple things. And that was it. And then all of a sudden, dude, like, search after search after search after search after search after search. And it was all different shit. What's up? Gosh, that's crazy. How in the hell did the dude try and, like, evade the whole thing about... It was on his... Oh, no. Is that how he thought he got away with it? I don't know, Ava. Does anybody know? Gosh. All those searches. No way. Does baking soda help a body smell better? What the fuck? Can you identify a body with broken teeth? Oh my god, what do human parts do in ammonia? My lord. I'm wondering, like, what all he bought for cleaning supplies for $450. Number one, that's a lot of fucking money for cleaning supplies. And what all was it? It's crazy. Yes, walking you through. Exactly. Exactly. I kind of want... I want to listen to that again for a second. Where's all the searches? I just want to hear a few of them again.
Enough with the calorie
Oh, crap.
counting.
Ooh, yum. What is that? Apple on a piece of toast? What? Go look great. Go low. Go low. Alright, let me see here.
Until 3:14 a.m. on January 2nd, to his wife since the early morning hours on New Year's Day. The Cohasset police were granted permission to Bing on his phone to locate her or her phone. And his phone indicated that it was stationed
SRB.
at the Cohasset house on New Year's Eve until 3:14 a.m. on January 2nd. There were no outgoing calls made at that time.
Yeah,
And at 3:14
exactly, Pugsy.
a.m. on the 2nd was turned off. Defendant stated Anna should have been wearing a dress, a black jacket, hunter boots, watch, ring, as well as carrying a Prada purse. Defendant gave a time of 6 or 6
Oh,
a.m. on
yeah.
the 1st when he last saw her.
Oh,
What I'd like to do now is just describe his actions in the days from January 1st. Indicated on January 1st, at 3 p.m. he did some errands and went to his mother's house in Swampscott, but got lost.
Got lost.
Because he didn't have his phone. He said he knew it was lost when he saw the pirate ship on Route 1. Defendant stayed 15 minutes, then went to Whole Foods and CVS. Surveillance was checked and he did not enter either of those stores.
oh man.
On January 1st, defendant Googled using his son's iPad. Some of the searches are as follows. Keep in mind that the defendant said he left at 6 a.m. At 4:55 a.m. on January 1st, he searched how long before a body starts to smell. At 4:58 a.m., how to stop a body from decomposing. At 5:20 a.m., he searched how to found a body. At 5:47 a.m., 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to.
10 ways.
At 6:25 a.m. on the 1st, how long for someone to be missing to inherit.
Whoa.
At 6:34 a.m. on the 1st, can you throw away body parts? At 9:29 a.m., what does formaldehyde do? At 9:34 a.m. on the 1st, how long does DNA last? At 9:59 a.m., can identification be made on partial remains? At 11:34 a.m., dismemberment and the best ways to dispose of a body. At 11:44, how to clean blood from wooden floor. At 11:56 on the 1st, luminol to detect blood. At 1:08, what happens when you put body parts in ammonia? At 1:21 p.m., is it better to throw crime scene clothes away or wash them? Those are on the January 1st. There was also information gained from the defendant's phone, which showed on January 2nd, he was at Home Goods in Norwell, where he purchased 3 rugs. There were also more Google searches on January 2nd. At 12:45 p.m., hacksaw best tool to dismember.
Oh.
At 1:10 p.m., can you be charged with murder without a body? At 1:14 p.m., can you identify a body with broken teeth?
Oh.
On
Oh my
January
gosh.
2nd, following those, the defendant was seen on surveillance at the Home Depot in Rockland. In checking the surveillance, the defendant is observed on security camera pushing a cart. Items included cleaning products, mops, brushes, tape, towel, a Tyvek suit with boot covers, buckets, goggles, baking soda, a hatchet. He had a face mask and rubber gloves on at the time he was pushing the cart in Home Depot. At 5:32, he was seen at the Derby Street in Hingham, now removing the gloves and the mask. Data from his phone also tracked his whereabouts on January 3rd. Locations were traveled at 4:27 on January 3rd to an apartment complex in Abington. Surveillance shows the defendant's Volvo, as well as a male giving the defendant's parents exit a car near the dumpster. He walks to the dumpster carrying a garbage bag. He's leaning, and it appears to be heavy as he has to heft it into the dumpster. He walks to the dumpster with the garbage bag and leaves it. On 4:48, he hit another complex in Abington at 5:10 p.m. Cell phone shows records at another apartment at Brockton. Video shows a party consistent with his appearance and his Volvo. Again, he discarded items in the dumpster. On January 3rd, that same day, at 1:02 p.m., he did some more Google searches. What happens to here on a dead body? At 1:13 p.m., what is the rate of decomposition of a body found in a plastic bag compared to on a surface in the woods? At 1:20 p.m., can baking soda mask or make a body smell good? On January 4th, the following day, the defendant went to Home Goods and TJ Maxx. He purchased towels as well as bath mats and men's clothing. At 4:15 that day on 4th, he went to Lowe's where he purchased squeegees and a trash can. On January 4th, when Cohasset police went to the house on the well game check, officers observed his Volvo with seats down and a plastic liner in the back of the car. The next day, a view of the Volvo showed his seats folded down, floor mats with some dirt, and the carpet appeared to show fresh vacuum streaks. When asked about the liner, the defendant
Wow.
said he threw it in the trash. Chemists
Threw it in the
later,
trash.
analyzed the car and was present.
That's enough. I was just curious about your Google searches again. That's just crazy. I mean, thank God he's that dumb. Ton of them are odd. Like the difference between like leaving a body in the woods compared to a bag. I mean, just some of the searches just spell it out for you. You can't. How are you gonna defend that? That's crazy. Thinking, oh, they're not gonna check my little son's tablet. Right. Right. Exactly. Well, thank you for that. This is another link, New York Times. Thank you for this link, SRB. Man, that's crazy. It just spelled it out right there. Uh-oh. Oh. They won't let me read their stuff for free anymore. Sorry, I can't check that link. Let's see here. We can probably go into those. Thank you for those links, Dre. Ooh, and the sports link too. Thank you. Those other two links, we'll probably get to what is today? Wednesday? Probably Saturday. Let's see. Watch Idaho 4. We got more camera. Oh, yeah. Scott Reich. We got some crime talk to watch here. Thank you for that, Pam. Let me see here. I'm just going through my links. Leave the sheath behind. Kel. That was from yesterday. So let's see. Let's check this link out. Thank you, Kel. Daily Mail. Did Idaho killer deliberately leave knife sheath at crime scene? Expert explains how DNA covered blade case could help Ryan Koberger's defense. Let me get to chat real quick. That was cool. What is this? Oh, it's an ad. The Idaho quadruple murder suspect may have left a knife sheath at the crime scene as part of a remarkably clever move to get off the hook, a criminologist suggested. David Wilson, a criminology professor at Birmingham City University in the UK, suggested accused killer Brian Kohberger was too smart to leave the evidence behind and that he may have done it so as a tactic to pull off the perfect crime. I would believe you if he didn't have his phone. Wilson said much of the evidence against Kohberger could be framed as coincidental by the defense, which they could. They could say, "Oh yeah, he was a friend of somebody that committed the crime and he touched it." It has been speculated Kohberger left enough evidence at the scene to prompt his arrest, but not enough to conclusively convict him beyond a shadow of a doubt. True. Such a move could see Kohberger charged and then exonerated, leaving him free from the shadow of possible arrest for the rest of his life, thanks to double jeopardy laws which prevent people from being charged with the same crime twice. The perfect crime would not be to kill and escape justice, but to kill and use the justice itself to truly get away with murder. Whoa. That's fucking trippy when you think about that. This last line right here. The perfect crime would not be to kill and escape justice, but to kill and use the justice system itself to truly get away with murder. Holy fuck. Cassie, I have your earbuds in. That Sarah Boone stuff is crazy, is it not? Especially the body cam. And then the interrogation. You're just like, whoa. Doesn't understand what important stuff we are discussing. Oh, sorry about that. Have you guys already gone over this? I just kind of skimmed through it. We just looked at the evidence real quick. Saw a meme pertaining, and it was hilarious. I'll have to find. Yeah, send it to me. I'll put it up there. There's still more. Always Kid Kitty. Now that sounds like something crazy about sports. That would be a great book, Cal. Seriously, the perfect crime would not be to kill and escape, but to kill and use the justice system itself. And that's crazy when you think about it. What's up, Donovan? How you doing tonight? Hey, I never got a link for that video you wanted me to check out that last time you hopped in, man. I went to look after the show and I didn't see one. Yeah, let me read on here. Holy crap. So that's what it looks like. Is this him? The criminologist was responding to host Philip Schofield, who called the abandoning of the knife sheath a remarkably clumsy move. Wilson said, "One of the things that's really struck me about the person that's been arrested and accused of this is his intelligent and high functioning. That he is intelligent and high functioning. He argued DNA could be transferred from one person to person and said he believes the defense may bring that up at trial. I could have your DNA," Wilson said, speaking to this morning's Hollywood. "Your DNA is on me. I could go wherever I wanted to go in the next hour, and your DNA would be where I go to," he continued. So the defense is clearly going to present issues that will suggest that Kohberger is innocent. As for Koberger's cell phone pings, which put him in the Moscow area on the date of the killing and in the weeks beforehand, Wilson offered an explanation for that too. Moscow isn't so far away from Washington State University, so it would be natural that there would be some of those towers that might ping, he said. There are just 8 miles between Washington State University's campus in Pullman, where Koberger studied, and Moscow, Idaho, where the murders took place. There will be a defense, Wilson said. Yeah, and that's all stuff we kind of went over before. Thank you for that, Kel. And let me see here. What time is it? We got about 25 minutes until Brian Enton's Twitter Spaces. So let me go through my other links here. Let me get back to chat real quick. Wow, what a headline, though. That would be a crazy book. It would be. I'm glad you're doing good, man. Yeah. Yeah, send me the link, the one you want me to check out. I'm having a hell of a time doing anything beyond show and work. The last week and a half, buddy. This overtime has thrown me for a loop. Just having an hour less between work and the show. Those two mistakes are beyond perplexing. Well, they said it could be up to 20 miles, Kelt. There's some towers that can have a range of 20 miles. It does vary. It does vary. But I think up in that area of the country, because they're spread out more because of the less population. So I believe some of those, like they were stating before, it could be 20 miles. But when you look at the pictures from the LE that they show of the pings from the phone, those are actually specific areas. So, but you know, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. And if you can say, well, this tower, it's like Scott Reich said, he was defending one of his clients, and he said, can you tell me that my client wasn't 30 blocks down from where the shooting took place? And the guy said, well, no. And he said, thank you. Speaking of Scott Reich, all right, let me see. Those are the co-defendant. We watched that one. Athena Brownfield. I do have some videos on her for tonight. All right. I went through pretty much the most current links. I want to thank you, everybody, for those. Sorry if I didn't get to some of the other ones. If there are any like sports and off-topic stuff, I'll definitely snag those up in a day or two. I just wanted to make sure I went through a good chunk of the emails there in the beginning. Let me see. I mean, you could probably look up the towers in the area and find out, right? You could probably somehow look up those towers and find out the ranges, or even see where. Hell, you could. I wonder if you could look up where the cell phone towers, where all of them are located in that area, and then, I mean, hell, maybe just see exactly where the towers are and how many or whatever. All right, I'm going to switch to the show folder. Let me see. Okay, that was search warrant. All right, we're waiting for Brian Enton, so let me go to this here. Let me see. Goose is cooked. 7 shocking details. Analyzing. Let's see here. Prosecutor. You know, we did talk about Lisa Marie Presley the other day. Nah, we might do that a little bit later. There's so much other stuff here. Yes, I did want to hear about these paintings. How did somebody like? How did they sell off of eBay or something, right? Why is it on mute?
Interviewed the man who was swindled out of the money in
This is him?
deal for the two Andy Warhol. Justin, you've had a chance not just to interview
Yes.
Don Rivelin.
We covered that last night for a little bit. I do have another video tonight. That is so horrible, Ava. It was crazy. From 10 months old to 72, the victims. But how it was a lot, the cops were like, it's gang. Yeah, we know about this house. eBay sidestepped and then slid out of hand. Yeah, it was, I do have another video on it. We'll see, though. We got Brian Enton's Twitter coming up, too. Yeah, it's such a... Oh, man. All of these are just horrible. I'm just... How did somebody... Like, how do you, like... Oh, man, this $80,000... How do you get faked out like that?
There's a lot about this. Justin Rohrlich interviewed the man who was swindled out of the money in that deal for the two Andy Warhol paintings. So, Justin, you've had a chance not just to interview Don Rivelin, the Beverly Hills art dealer, who, you know, that was at the target of the fraud for which, you know, Brian Walsh was wearing an ankle bracelet, but you've also talked to the people who were close or knew the family well, and they are very, very specific about what he was like. Can you fill me in on some of the details you learned?
Sure thing. I spoke with somebody who has known Brian Walsh for many years, who first met him as a young child, who was his late father's closest confidant. He said Walsh, from the time he was a young teenager, carried himself like a prince. And that's a direct quote from him. He said he never thought the rules applied to him, that he was sort of above it all. And according to the friend, Walsh lived in something of a fantasy land, wanting, quote, only the finest things in life.
Ask you a little bit about the other side of the art deal, because I was unaware originally that the person who was originally connected to those Andy Warhols was a friend in South Korea. So not only did he cause this immeasurable, you know, financial harm to the friend, he also took this other, you know, dealer who was not a friend but was an business associate. So it almost sounds as though his mens rea had no bounds.
That's correct. The Warhols, the original Warhols, came from a college friend of Brian Walsh that he met his freshman year. And he was actually in South Korea to attend this man's wedding when he told him that he could get a good price for these two Warhol canvases that he had. And he put them on eBay for $80,000. And a dealer in Los Angeles named Ron Rivlin wound up buying them. And he sent his assistant to Boston from Los Angeles to exchange a cashier's check for the two paintings. And when they got back to LA, he realized that they were fakes. And he said of the 1,000 or so Warhols that he has purchased in his career as a dealer, this is the only one that got by him. And Walsh was just that good. He said he said all the right things until he got his money. He knew how to play him exactly, and then he disappeared. And in fact, he called Walsh's act an Oscar-worthy performance.
Let's talk about the family issue, because it is a whole other level.
Oscar-worthy.
When your family speaks against you and uses terms like sociopath. And that's the battle that he has been in with his own family over the death of his father, the word being that he was disinherited by his father, and that he went ahead anyway and swindled himself into not only selling priceless artwork of Salvador Dali, but also family heirlooms, the bank account, and the cousins have been in a battle with him. And they've used really strident terms when they describe him.
That's correct. They have described him literally as a sociopath in probate court filings over the will. Brian Walsh is accused of stealing almost $1 million from his father, as you mentioned earlier. That had to do with the refinancing of his home in Massachusetts. And the father had to put off his retirement and was really put in a bad place by Brian's alleged theft. He was cut out of the will, and he then attempted to get himself appointed as executor of the will by saying that his father didn't have a will in the first place. In actuality, one of his friends had taken a photograph of the will before this happened, so he was able to prove that the will did exist. And Brian was written out of the will. He had not been in touch with his father for many years before his death, and apparently his father wanted to have nothing to do with it.
It's the evidence that always comes back to bite you. And what sort of forethought for that young man to have taken that picture of the will. Justin Rorlick, thank you so much for joining me tonight, not only with your reporting, but with your insight in those interviews as well. Much appreciated. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com.
Huh, that's interesting. I was always wondering, like, how in the hell did somebody get scammed on for 80 grand? We're far from the finish line? What? Are you serious? I want to hear what this attorney has to say. Just checking up some
This is an arrest warrant, even though he's,
just checking up some different stuff. It's been a lot of Anna Walsh and Brian Walsh stuff here.
This is an arrest warrant, even though he's, in custody. It's still an arrest warrant. I want to bring in Duncan Levin because lucky for us, it's teaching to drive in and very smart assessment of where we're at in this case. And I know it's early. And I know that, you're a prosecutor and a defense attorney both. But this evidence that we've seen till now is overwhelmingly damning. People will say, but it's circumstantial, like that's a bad thing. Why is that not?
There are so many cases that are circumstantial. If I told you that it was raining outside and I walked inside and I was covered in water and I had an umbrella up, you would reach the conclusion that it was raining outside too, even if you didn't see the rain itself. It's something that's human nature. And in this case, all of the different pieces of it are so damning, but the one piece that's missing is the body. And that is going to be what the defense focuses on, while the prosecution is saying, this isn't circumstantial. It is a circumstantial case. Circumstantial is not a bad word. There are a lot of cases that are circumstantial. Most cases are. But
most
in fact,
evidence people don't see murders happen. Most evidence people don't see rapes happen. Most evidence comes in, and you've got to be reasonable at a jury and make that leap. And sometimes the chasm is tiny.
Well, the biggest challenge that the prosecution faces is the actual murder itself, and that has to be proven also. There are two things that the prosecution has to prove here. Number one, that there was a murder, and number two, that Brian Walsh was the one who committed it. The second part of it actually is the easier part, which is very rare for a case to come that easy. The circumstantial pieces of it, between the weapons being found, the blood, the Google searches, who Googles how to dismember a 115-pound body, and the fact is that she was 115 pounds.
Can we just stop down there to suggest how remarkably stupid just how remarkably stupid it is for somebody to think they can get away with any of this, especially pulling a move like that, if that's in fact what he did. I do want to ask you this, because so many times people will say, this looks like a slam dunk, right? Yeah. That's what people said about Casey Anthony, slam dunk. And there were jurors.
That's what they're saying about Kohberger too.
Hold it.
No.
I haven't been told how this killing happened, how this murder happened, how the child died. And in this case, that could be the thing that hangs up a jury. They're looking for reasonable doubt, and sometimes jurors think they're looking for doubt.
Yeah, well, there's no such thing as a slam dunk case. As any lawyer will tell you, when you take a case in front of a jury, there's always some problem on some side of this. Here, the problem with the case is a glaring one, which is the murder itself. But there could be any number of problems with forensics, with the DNA evidence, with the cell phone technology. Both sides are likely to call expert witnesses to get into all of that. And so we're far from the finish line here, even though when everyone looks at it, they say, well, how could you be this bad at planning a murder? This is the opposite of a perfect murder.
I also want to ask you about that last thing you just said, planning a murder. So many people will say, well, gosh, look at, if this is true, if he actually went to these trash facilities, if he made all these efforts to lie and cheat and go where his, GPS monitor, wasn't GPS, but his ankle monitor wasn't going to let him go, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a premeditated murder. Plenty of people have gotten into fights and accidentally someone's died. And then the horrible behavior afterwards makes it look like they're premeditated murders. So talk to me a little bit of how this might be tricky. This might be really tricky to say it's a premeditated murder.
So everything that happened after the murder, we could say that. So you could say, well, he was just trying to cover up an accident. So when you're looking at the cleaning supplies, $450 of cash, he got scared in the moment he was cleaning up. But what is premeditation is everything that happened beforehand. Those Google searches are premeditation. And if I were the prosecutor in the case, that's what I'd be arguing. Premeditation.
Wait, the Google searches are premeditation on how to clean up the disaster that you
Right.
caused. They're not premeditation on, I am going to take my living, breathing wife out, and then I'm going to do that. I mean, do you know what I mean? Like,
I do.
I love
doesn't depend
Banfield.
on when those Google searches were made. If they were made
Get it.
before a witness saw her alive, then yes. If they are made after last witness saw her alive, then no.
I think here where the prosecution's likely to get into it is with this history of domestic violence, with the fact that she posted photos on her Instagram prior to this, which showed injuries, the fact that she was even vouching for him in his federal sentencing, showing that she was going through honeymoon phase with him, where she was going through injuries with him. And I think all of that's likely to come in at some point into this case.
What's weird, though, I'm not going to lie, is there's this bottle, looks like a New Year's Eve bottle of champagne in a bag with a message written, presumably by Anna, because it says, "Love Anna." And it is so sweet. To her husband, 2023 is going to be the greatest. Look at us, we're still here. Let's make it the greatest. Compassion, etc. I'm going to read the actual message to you later in the show. But to me, that doesn't scream, my God, I'm afraid you're going to kill me.
And I think that's where educating the jury is going to come in, and what's going to be a critical part if this case gets to trial, which it likely is going to get to trial. I think that that's a very critical piece to educate the jury on domestic violence and the fact that it's not always a straight line. It's not always, people being angry and fighting all the time, that there are periods of time where people do make up. And I think that's what you're seeing.
Okay, and this last part, is a little tricky. I got 30 seconds left, but this is not a death penalty state. Massachusetts is not a death penalty state. You can't say to this guy, you better cut a deal or you're gonna lose your life. So how hard do you think a prosecution is when you don't have that leverage? And I got about 20 seconds on this.
I think we may see a lot more evidence tomorrow that changes the game, but you're right. We don't really know. It's so early in the life of this case. He's being arraigned tomorrow. Both sides have to dig in and do a lot more investigation.
Thank you for watching. Go to...
Wow. Speaking of that case in Goshen, California, here's a new video that just came out. We got a few new videos that just came out within the last few minutes here. This is KTLA, Channel 5.
Sandy and Pedro, a massive manhunt continues tonight for those responsible for massacring 6 family members. Tulare County Sheriff's officials say they're looking for at least 2 suspects, possibly 3, who carried out these cartel-style executions.
What we have since learned through forensics, that it was clear that the shooters stood over the top of the 16-year-old mother and fired rounds into her head.
The Tulare County Sheriff says shooters stood over a young mother as she clutched her 10-month-old baby boy and pumped bullets into both their heads.
We believe that the 16-year-old teenage mother and her small infant was running from the scene.
They were trying to escape the Monday morning massacre at their Goshen home near Fresno. 4 more family members were found gunned down inside the house, including a 72-year-old grandmother who had been sleeping in her bed.
These people were clearly shot in the head, and they were also shot in places that the shooter would know that quick death would occur.
A survivor hiding on the property and fearing they were going to be the next victim called 911.
She believes somebody may be inside the house. She's in the trailer. She believes the subjects are inside the house. There's 5 adults and 1 baby. She can still hear these shots.
Sheriff's officials say the bloodshed was the result of a very specific and targeted attack against the Peraz family. They say they're familiar with the home and gang activity occurring there. Just last week, deputies executed a narcotic search warrant at the address and found guns and drugs. Before that, this of a drive-by shooting.
Whoa, hold on a second. Is that why this took place? Because they were...
Guns and drugs. Before that, there. Just last week, deputies executed a narcotics search warrant at the address. And
So the week before, they executed a narcotics search warrant. Whoa.
found guns and drugs. Before that, there were reports of a drive-by
As-
shooting.
But let me make this very clear. Not all these people in this home were gang members, and not all of these people in this home are drug dealers.
A family friend says she can't believe what's happened.
Who goes into a house and massacres a bunch of people? Who does that?
Authorities
Somebody who thinks that they're gonna probably get ratted on?
have their suspicions and are looking at the possibility of gangs or cartels or both.
I'm not identifying or pointing a finger at any one cartel. I'm not. I'm saying that what took place is very much like what we've seen in the past when it comes to an execution by cartel.
Authorities say there are 3 surviving family members who are relaying key details to detectives. For now, reporting here in the newsroom.
Yeah, there's more than one? I thought there was just one that hid in a closet. There's more, huh? Oh my gosh. Yeah, is it related to that bust a week prior? And speaking of, this is about little cartel video.
44% of the Mexican population lives in poverty. So of course they're going to come to the United States hoping they won't be poor. In 2021, 44,000 human beings were murdered in Mexico. 44,000. In the United States, with 200 million more people, homicide was 23,000.
And that
However,
number sounds
added
low
to the
that you have
44,
about Mexico. That's low.
well, these are the numbers that come out of the United States law enforcement people.
No, not
FBI
not
numbers.
our numbers. We count that fairly accurately. I'm talking about Mexico's numbers. Life is cheap there, Bill.
Well,
I bet you the numbers higher.
23,000 people. In 23,000 people went missing. So added together, it's 67,000 human beings murdered or missing. Don't go snorkeling in Acapulco Bay.
Whoa.
So you have down there a situation that's totally out of control.
Whoa.
And those people make their money in America. That's where they make their money.
And they're killing
And
here
our
too.
president-
They just killed a half dozen people
Of
right
course,
over the border in
hundreds
California.
of thousands.
No, but I'm
Hundreds
saying
of
they
thousands of
literally
people are
just came in
dying.
and shot up 6 people on American soil, showing a new brazen attitude because they have the best product they've ever had in the existence of illicit drugs. Fentanyl is the cheapest.
I'm sorry
We
about
don't
that,
have to
Essetti.
convince anybody watching. We don't have to convince
I hope you feel better. That's crazy, Ava. Gosh.
anybody watching tonight.
I don't know that people
That this
are
is
afraid enough. You know, they think that, oh, this is the latest thing. It's like meth. It's like this. It is not. I'm telling you,
Okay.
I can't tell you how many parents are having conversations with their kids once they get educated where, I mean, whoever thought you'd have this conversation with a teenage kid? I know you're going to smoke weed, okay? Let me figure out where to get it because God forbid you get this stuff sprinkled with fentanyl, you will die. Usually we just have a hard no on it. Can't be that way anymore. Kids
Look,
are dying.
that's the retail problem. But I want you to understand the big picture, how dangerous Mexico is to America. If you combine the out of control migration with the narcotics, you have a problem far beyond the jihadists. So why is the President of the United States and the corporate media ignoring the problem? Why? Because it makes Biden and the Democrats look bad. Now, Trump at least did something. He forced Obrador.
Yeah, he did
Trump
more than
forced
something.
Obrador.
Yeah, he did more than something. His
to
best
put
foreign policy.
the military on the border.
Trump's best foreign policy decision. Okay, and probably, I'm surprised he didn't blow his horn more about this at the time, frankly, because I was covering it when he was doing it. Him threatening the tariff against Mexico made the difference to Obrador, certainly with migration. On drugs, I don't know that we have a solution. The people that I'm talking to.
Oh, you got a solution. You
Well,
have a
all
solution.
right, let me
And
hear it.
Trump used it Trump used it, but then took the tariff over this. The Patriot Act, passed after 9/11, allows the American government to define a terrorist group. Once the group is defined as a terrorist, we can kill them. If you read my book, Killing the Killers, that's how we went after the Iranians.
Right, but there is a legal
the
problem.
Somalians, all the others.
There's a legal issue.
Wait. The Patriot Act gives the United States the right to designate terror groups.
Yes.
If they designate the Biden administration, the cartels as terror groups, we can drone them.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go
We
to
can drone 'em?
newsnationnow.com.
Oh my gosh. What the hell? We can drone them. Oh my lord. That was... Some made sense. Some was like, what the fuck? All right. Ex-FBI agent disappointed by Koberger search warrant. She's disappointed.
All right, I want to stay on our ability to understand situations that we're covering here. Idaho. The police released the contents of what they found in Brian Koberger's apartment. Let's bring in somebody who's done this many
They cut him
times
off.
and see if they share my feelings about it. Former FBI agent Jennifer Coffindaffer. With the exception of maybe 2 things on this list, I mean, I didn't expect there to be any real causal connection between where he was and the murder scene of their house. But if I'm his defense attorney, it's too bad Garagos isn't here tonight. I'm not worried by this list. You?
Well, the hair could actually end up being very important, but I was disappointed. I thought they would take many more things. There were so many things on that list I didn't see. I did want to see clothing. I wanted to see shoes. I wanted to see a greater number of fibers and hairs and blood information. So I was surprised. I was disappointed.
Wow.
One collection of dark red spot collected without testing. Now, if that is blood, that's really their best bet for a forensic link. Yes?
Absolutely. Particularly if that blood goes back to one of
Yes,
those
it
4
is.
victims, which you would infer that it would.
Thank you for the heads up. Let me check real quick, see if Enton is live. Thank you again for that. Damn, I need to get me like a clock that sits in front of me so I know what freaking time it is. I need like a clock that just sits right in front of my freaking screen. Okay. Oh, and guess what, Kelt? Jennifer Coffindaffer's on there tonight. Okay, I don't see it. Is it going? Here, I'll let this video finish playing out, and then we'll go to
That is
Twitter
a
here.
nice smoking gun there.
If I mean, they don't even know what it was. They
If,
don't even
if,
call
if.
it. They don't even call it blood. Now, one of the things that Coffindaffer is very good at, and has been helping me off TV, whether she knows it or not, is debunking things. Very interesting. Because a lot of stuff out there in this new social media community of sleuths, and I dig it. I love that people are interested in this. I'd rather you be interested in true crime than in celebrities, but you can't be making things up. The idea of the glove they found, you know, straight OJ, that's the glove, the same, that's the other glove that cop found at the crime scene. There's no reason to believe that, is there?
No, if you look closely at the picture, it's completely different of glove than is described in the search warrant return.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and switch to Twitter now. See, I'm not hearing nothing here. She's disappointed. She's on here tonight, Cal.
Hey everybody, this is Brian. Hope everybody's having a good night. Wanted to get on here tonight to discuss the unsealed search warrant in the Brian Koberger case. I wasn't really expecting this to be unsealed today, so it kind of came as a surprise this afternoon when we were able to get it. So just kind of wanted to go over it with everybody. We haven't really had any other significant developments this week. since I left Idaho after the hearing the end of last week. So just wanted to get everybody up to speed. I have Jennifer Coffendoffer with me, former FBI agent who's been following this case closely. Jennifer, are you there?
Yes. How are you, Brian?
Good. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great. Yes, this was a big surprise, right?
Yeah.
At least
Yeah, I just missed you. I meant to watch you on News Nation a little while ago, but I got distracted. I'm working on another story too, so I suddenly lost track of time. But thanks for hopping on here. I know you've had a busy night.
Oh, no problem. Yes, look forward to it.
So, what did you think when this came out? I wasn't expecting them to unseal it this quickly.
Well, I had a little bit of inside information. I don't know, they might even be on here, that it would be coming soon, that it was really just a matter of administration. And March 1st, was kind of the date I think some of us were looking for, that it wouldn't be unsealed after that date. It would be before. And certainly it happened quicker than I thought it would.
Yeah, no, same here. We had all put in
I wish
for it, and then I wasn't expecting to get it.
That'd be crazy, huh?
So if those of you who have it, it's I think it's like almost 20 pages long. A lot of it is just
so
kind
many
of a
questions.
repeat of the probable cause affidavit from Moscow PD, but there are some really big new nuggets. One of which we can talk about first, is the list of items that were taken from Brian Kohberger's apartment in Pullman, Washington. His office was also searched at Washington State University, and I tweeted a video of that, Jennifer. I don't know if you saw it. When I had kind of a slow day in Idaho, I went over to Washington State, found the building where the criminal justice school is, and his office was actually like downstairs in a basement. It was really weird being in that building, like thinking about him walking around there and going in and out. But anyway, the search warrant didn't really have any items taken from his office, even though they searched it. But they do have the list of items taken from his apartment in Pullman. So maybe we can just go through them, Jennifer, and you can kind of tell us what you think. The first thing, one nitrite type black glove. What do you make of that, Jennifer?
So these gloves are very unique. They're unique because they fit very tightly on the hand. And the reason we even wore them in the SWAT program was because you needed to be able to manipulate things like flashbangs, as an example, that are very, more intricate. The trigger, to feel your trigger, things like that. So these are very specific gloves, and it's interesting. I thought there was only one. Of course, a lot of people jumped that, there was the other glove that was, found 11 days, I think, after the search. From the pictures I've seen, there's, no match there. It's a completely different kind of glove. But it was interesting. There was only one. And I didn't quite know what to make of that. I would have expected the pair to be there.
Yeah, that is interesting one. Then one Walmart receipt with one Dickies tag, two Marshall's receipts. Granted, it doesn't say what's on the receipts, what items, but the first thing I thought was, I'm assuming there must have been something on there that they thought was relevant, or would they have taken those no matter what?
No, I think that they were relevant, possibly disclosing clothes or other items that he purchased, maybe those Van shoes, as a possibility. I think they're relevant.
Interesting. Dust container from, I don't know how to pronounce this, BISSELL, Bissell Force, Power Force Vacuum. Is that common for them to get a dust container?
Well, first of all, Brian, are you not, you don't know about vacuums? That's Bissell.
Bissell? Yeah, I'm not like a big
vacuum guy.
I'm not a big vacuum guy, no.
Okay. No, this
I
made
do have a vacuum, but I'm not like a vacuum aficionado or anything.
Yeah, but no,
That
Good
was
night,
very
Trey. Thank you.
important because if he did do any cleanup and just failed to empty it, and even if he didn't fail to empty it, or in other words, it was empty, there would still be remnants. And
We'll
I
see.
think that was a very good call. In fact, we haven't seen the warrant return for the dad's house. But where, we saw him using a vacuum later, and I certainly hope that they grabbed the vacuums and shop vac from that search. So I was happy to see this.
So what would be in there? Would it be like hair or DNA? I mean, what could be in a vacuum?
Oh, hair and
What do you mean?
fibers.
What could be in a
as you sweep up,
in the
even
filter?
smaller particles of possible blood, dried blood. So it was very important that they get any cleaning type, brooms, brushes, vacuums, all of that should have been taken.
So the next item is 8 possible hair strands. And one thing I was wondering when I was reading this on air on News Nation earlier, so they've got like 8 possible hair strands as one line item, and then later there's 1 possible hair strand, and then another line item, 1 possible hair strand. Are they separating those, do you think, because they were like found in different places, or you know what I mean, Jennifer? Like, because it's interesting how they separated those out in the list.
Well, how this works when you go in and you're responsible for evidence recovery is each room is labeled, typically with a letter. And you have different people responsible for that room and that evidence recovery. And then you have an overall sort of manager. Okay. But as things are being written, it is very possible that one person was writing hair strand, another person was writing hair, and then the person that put together the search warrant return, which is likely not the people that were keeping the logs and so on and so forth, he verbatim wrote what was on the log. That's one possibility. The other possibility I thought is they could be differentiating a strand, Brian, like long hair as opposed to a smaller hair.
I see.
I could see it going both ways, but I tend to think whoever was doing that log maybe changed their vernacular.
Okay, interesting. So it might just kind of be semantics.
It could be.
When they say one possible hair strand or one possible hair, I mean, I'm just thinking like I would know what a hair looks like. Why did they write possible? Agents
and officers do that just to cover themselves, because what would happen if what they thought was a hair ended up being a very small and very fine, tassel off of something, or some sort of, fabricy tassel. I would say it's 99% a hair.
Question.
When you see possible, they're just covering their bases.
Good question.
I guess they're waiting for it to be like officially tested.
Right.
Yes, exactly. They want to get the test results before they say
question.
absolutely.
I wondered
a hair.
that too. I was like,
so
why
then there was one
differences in
Fire TV stick with cord plug. And I think when I don't have a Fire TV stick, but I've seen them at like Airbnbs that I've rented. I think it's kind of like it sticks into the TV, it's you can access Netflix and other shows through it. I wonder why they would be interested in that.
Yeah, the streaming, right? Any and all streaming can go through a Fire Stick.
Right.
I think it could be interesting to know what he was watching. Remember, I think also, as I understand it, you can stream things like YouTube, apps through that.
Yeah, I was going to say,
so
I thought
all
you
that
could
could
get
be
on the web.
very
Google
telling.
search,
I mean, if you look at the Anna Walsh case, which is, in the news right now, Brian, I'm sure you've seen it. It's amazing all the things he was looking at.
My
and
Lord.
It's possible Brian could have been using that Fire Stick to access apps about how to, from YouTube. So I could see them grabbing it.
Come on.
So we've got a lot of possible hairs,
Using the classes
possible hair strand, and then one computer tower, which obviously would be very important, I would think.
Yes, that's key. The computer tower. And I have to say, I was really surprised that they didn't take anything from the office. It leads me to believe either he never returned to the office, that's their belief, and was undisturbed, or B, there was no computer there, that he had a laptop he took in and out. I was expecting something from the office, but it was
Right.
vacation time,
Yep.
after November 13th. And it's possible he never went into that office, and that's why they never
Yeah,
took
and
him.
it's my understanding he shared the office with another like grad student. So maybe you're right. He had a laptop and just kind of plopped himself down in there when he was doing work or whatever, or meeting with students. But maybe it wasn't like a place where he kept stuff, just since he shared it. And it was interesting because in the building where his office was, you've got part of the criminal justice, like faculty and professors on I think it was the first floor when I went in. And then down in the base, so I was looking for his office on the first floor and like chatting with the professors and stuff. And one of them was like, no, his office was down in the basement. So I went down into the basement, and it was kind of interesting because like on all the windows they had these, and I have some pictures, I could tweet them later. They had like these signs on the windows that said, basically, if you're here from the media, like call this media relations number. So I guess I wasn't obviously the only person that had like gone wandering around this building. But I went down into the basement, and then in the basement was where his office was. But that's when I found out that he shared it with another person. But again, it was just weird going in and out the front door, just like thinking how many times he had come in and out. And there were a lot of students there. Obviously, school had started again at Washington State University. And they're just like, young students walking around. And it was just, I guess it was just kind of eerie being there. You know what I mean, Jennifer? Because it was like kind of thinking about him there around all these young people, when mostly I'd been at the house where the murders happened. But to be in that setting, it just felt weird.
Yeah, no, I totally see where you're coming from there. I can't imagine walking into 1122 King Road. I mean, like inside, how eerie a feeling that would be.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, you would just, because your mind wanders. With everything we know, it wanders, and I could see yourself going in there and thinking, oh my gosh, when was the last time he was in here? Was he thinking about this, on a daily basis, when he was in there? Just it's eerie. Did you get to see his office, Brian? Like the interior?
No, so they had it was like on an interior hallway that the door was locked, so I could only see, I think it was office number 12, if I remember correctly.
Whoa.
And I could see through the window, and I could see the 12, but I couldn't see into the actual office. But the other weird thing was on the walls they had names of all the PhD students, because a lot of them teach classes, and I noticed that his name wasn't anywhere. So I think they had gone through very quickly and gotten rid of like his name on all the sign-up sheets and that kind of thing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I could see them doing that. Even though he's obviously innocent in the eyes of the law, there's been a lot of information disclosed in that 19-page affidavit that would have many people believe he is guilty of this crime. So
yeah. Well, let me keep going down the list here. So the computer tower, one collection of dark red spot, and then it says parentheses collected without testing. What do you think? I mean, so what? It just says one collection of dark red spot. What does that mean to you?
Oh, that means they believe that that's possibly blood. I guess that's a teeny bit obvious, but that's why they took it. They think it's blood, but they didn't field test it. And so, which is smart, because you don't want to put anything that could alter it in any way with just a field test, as opposed to getting it to a lab so it can be extensively tested there. So I was glad to see that. I was shocked to see not much more of that. I would have expected more, Brian.
Yeah, it's interesting. It doesn't say what they found the dark red spot on, though, for that line.
Yes, it doesn't. And they're keeping it, when you do these evidence collections, you keep it very non-specific.
So then it says 2 cuttings from I think it's uncased pillow of reddish brown stain, parentheses, larger stain tested. So I guess some stains that they found on pillows.
Right. And they don't tell us the testing, but I would guess, that is blood. I mean, that would be the inference. That's why they took it. They field tested it. And, it's going to be very interesting to see whether that's his blood or one of the victims' blood. That's what we don't know.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, like, would the victim's blood be on his pillow? I mean, well, how could you explain that?
Well, this is what I'm picturing. And please, trigger warning for anyone on here. In this sort of a crime, especially an arterial bleed would completely spurt out. Venal bleeds, no, but arterial bleed, yes. So I would think he would have had blood on his hair, blood all over. Now, I can't imagine him not washing and going to bed and using a pillow, for heaven's sakes, to sleep on with that. But we don't know. We don't know what he would or would not have done, after a crime like that. So
this is a good
it's possible, Brian.
And then the last item here, 2 top and bottom of mattress cover packaged separately, both labeled C, multiple stains. So 2 top and bottom mattress covers. It's kind of weird the way it's written. So multiple stains on mattress covers, that's something. And then it says parentheses 1 tested. So I guess the same thing. It could be something connected.
Right. I mean, what did he, I don't know whether we don't know what he used that for. These mattress covers. Was it on his mattress and he laid down and, stained like that? We don't know what he did, but this certainly gives us a little bit of a window into that, unless he used those mattress covers to put something in that would have been soiled with blood. But that makes less sense to me.
Yeah. And then the one I skipped over was 1 possible animal hair strand, which I thought was interesting because I immediately thought back to Kaylee's dog. I guess they could try to, Murphy, they could, the doodle, they could try to connect that possible animal hair strand back to the dog. I mean, is that what you think they would be doing?
Well, the big problem with all these hairs is, to me, it's a principle, not to get too fancy, right? Lockhart's principle that basically on a crime scene, when you go to a crime scene, you bring things, and when you leave the crime scene, you take things. And that holds true too for apartments and anything people go in and out of. There's no way you don't leave something behind. So when you think about that principle, I was thinking about this apartment, all, different people who would have been in there, transference from, his father being there. Brian, did you report that they had a dog? The parents?
Yeah. So when I went to their house, I believe they do have a dog that they had. I'm trying to remember. I think they had the dog, kind of in a back room because we were all just meeting in the living room. So I think Kaylee's parents do have a dog.
And what about? Did you do any reporting though on the Kobergers?
Oh, I'm sorry, the Kobergers. I don't know that they have a dog. I went to their house and there wasn't a dog barking or anything like that when I knocked on the door. So I don't know, but they definitely, there wasn't I didn't see a dog or any signs of a dog, but they could have just had like a quiet dog. Right.
I guess the point is that, a hair could have been left there weeks ago or, months ago, years ago. So it'll be interesting to see if that dog hair pans out to be anything of importance. And that is the same goes for all of those hairs.
Yeah.
Because of all the different people that would have been in and out. But you never know. The other thing is just with Murphy, my understanding is one of the biggest pluses about doodles are they don't shed.
Right. That's a good point. So there wouldn't be as much hair.
Right. There wouldn't.
But they still shed a little,
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see what these hairs test to. And of course, they could just be Brian's. They could be the father's. They get so many possibilities, but at least they took them. I'm just quite frankly surprised there's not more hairs.
One thing I was surprised because Nancy Lou was out there and got all that video outside the apartment when they were pulling out all of the boxes and stuff. The police.
Yes.
And it just looked like a lot more stuff than what's listed here.
I totally agree. I've been surprised at this list. I also thought they would have taken clothing, gloves, shoes, socks, because there's all this transference that could have taken place after that crime. Not that he wore any of that there, but could be a transference. I was just surprised at the lack of what's on that list. So,
and would they have to list everything they took?
They have to. I mean, there's very, specific rules and timeframes, and you have to list everything you take within the parameters of the warrant return. And you sit there before the judge and you hand it to them, and they go over it, and you discuss it. That's how sort of a warrant return works. So I was surprised.
So two other things I noticed that I want to ask you about with the new unsealed warrant. Number one, it was clear that they went in to look for a weapon. That was listed in part of the paperwork, that was one of their, reasons that they were going in, that they cited to the judge. But then obviously no weapon, no knife listed in what they took out. So I'm assuming that means that we still don't have a murder weapon at this point, at least that we know of.
You're right, Brian. We don't, that we know of, unless it was recovered at the parents' house or in the car, because we haven't seen those warrant returns. I've always been of the belief he would have hid that or buried it, saved it. Certainly if he ever had any predisposition to commit another crime. But we don't know. But certainly I think many people thought it could have been in his apartment, and the smoking knife was not there.
Yep. If anyone has any questions for Jennifer, you can just comment underneath like on the tweet where I tweeted this spaces, and I'm going to go through those in a second. But one other thing I wanted to ask you about, Jennifer, was when I was reading over everything, there was one part where it said that the victim's home contained a, quote, significant amount of blood, spatter, and cast off.
Oh, my Lord.
And again, this was in when they were writing up why they needed to search the apartment. We don't have the autopsy reports. We've heard from the families that this was a brutal murder, but this was one of the first times I think I'd read it in black and white. They said, quote, significant amount of blood spatter.
Oh my Lord.
Right. It's, it was important to put that in the warrant paperwork, because they need to prove the and for the judge to see the violence that was there and why this spatter and cast off could be transferred. So it was important for them to put that verbiage in there. But it certainly paints that picture for all of us, right, of the brutality that took place. And as I said, you would believe, based on what happened, that he hit arteries, and arteries are going to spurt and splatter like that.
Yeah, spatter and then cast off. Is that a common term to use? I never heard of that.
I have to tell you that's I haven't heard that particular verbiage, but how I read that is I think of spatter as being more small little spatter, smaller, and then I think of cast off as being a larger cast.
It's her audio. She must have her
some of these
headphones must have came
sorry, I think there's a little
unplugged or
bit of an
something.
echo that I have.
Notice.
I don't know why, but a lot of people are saying he could have used the mattress pads
there. Now
as
she
seat
fixed
covers,
it,
which is kind of interesting. I hadn't thought of that.
But why would you bring them back?
Right.
You wouldn't bring that back. That's why you wouldn't use it to dispose of anything and then empty out, say, your clothing and then bring that back, or seat covers and bring that back. I don't believe that would be unusual.
And he, like you mentioned earlier, he's innocent until proven guilty. But I mean, a lot of the things he's done as someone who, if he is in fact the killer, as someone who had all this expertise and was getting his PhD in criminology. I mean, he kind of made a lot of mistakes, though.
Totally agree with you. I always say a lot of people are good behind the keyboard, behind the pencil, they're book smart, but he didn't think through, I don't believe, a lot of his moves. And that's part of being a narcissist too, right? He thinks he's going to get away with it. He fantasizes about it and he plays it through thinking, oh, nobody's going to see this car, and doesn't think about dropping the sheath or it dislodging. And then here we are using his phone, as opposed to another phone, thinking turning it off wouldn't be a red flag. So he made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
I wonder if that'll end up being
For sure.
defense. A defense attorney could say, look, this guy has been studying this for years. And why would he, if he actually did it, why would he have made all these mistakes?
Well, I will say, just because that's my major too, and again, I don't have a PhD or wasn't working on a PhD, and I don't have a master's, but in studying it as my undergrad degree, you really don't study how to commit crimes. You certainly study the, criminal justice system. You study law. You study the administration of criminal justice. But there's really, I can think of a deviant behavior class I took where we in-depth studied serial killers and sexual crimes and things like that. But it's not the mainstay of what you study. I think it gave him somewhat of a leg up understanding the criminal justice system, but I don't think it gave him much of a leg up on how to commit this crime.
Yep, that makes sense. Mariah on Twitter said, do you think he dropped the knife on the long route back to his house after the murders? So I drove that route, Jennifer. I don't know if you saw that. There was one night on Banfield, we drove the route that he took, which was so interesting because it was like this really, really roundabout way to get from the house where the murders happened in Moscow to his apartment in Pullman. Like he went way out of the way, way down this country road in the middle of nowhere. That took,
to ditch
I think it ended up
maybe?
taking us like 25 minutes where it would have taken like 10 minutes if you just went the straight route. But I was thinking if he did throw the knife out the window, it was all like country farmland. I mean, it seems like a really big, long area for them to search. And we never saw anyone out there on the side of the road or heard, we probably would have gotten a tip or something if they were out there looking.
Right. That would be so vast for them to search. And, I've always been of the belief that when he left, like you said, in seeing how elongated that route was, that he stopped and buried or stopped and otherwise disposed of the, large part of what was incriminating, inclusive of that knife.
Yeah. So someone was smart and just posted pictures from when Nancy got all that video of them pulling stuff out. And now I'm looking, it took some screen grabs. Some of it is the stuff I can see, the computer tower. I think a lot of it would they have brought a lot of supplies in when they were doing the search warrant, like bags of stuff, paper bags of stuff?
Always. Yes. You have your tech kit and, yes, you do. Boxes and these leather suitcase, briefcase things we discussed at another time. When you saw somebody bring that in, I don't remember when you saw that agent go in or crime scene analyst go in, and I described that as, oh my gosh, that's what was in my trunk of my car for years. They do. They bring a lot in. But I also thought when I saw those images, Brian, I thought we were going to have a true treasure trove. And I'm still a little bit just surprised at the lack of what of what was found.
That does explain, though, some of those big bags they were carrying out. Maybe that was just their some of the stuff they were using. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, that's very true.
I'm just reading through here to see if there's any other good ones. Let's see. A lot of people thinking that those mattress covers were car seats. Could have cut himself and bled on the pillow. That is true.
I believe that too. That's what I was saying. It's, is it from him or is it from them? At the beginning of the spaces, some of this blood and everything, it could be from a cut he sustained. And a cut that was, in other words, in that frolicking state with this knife being used, it is absolutely usual to nick yourself on these types of stabbings. And, I think that could be the case, that it's going to be his blood.
A lot of people are commenting that doodles do shed, Jennifer.
Oh,
so I had a feeling the doodle owners were going to speak up on that one.
I love it. Thanks, doodle owners.
Yeah.
All I have is a beagle, and he's a walking hair depository. Hairs everywhere.
Do you still have the dog that you rescued? Was it your son's?
Yes, the beagle.
Is that the beagle?
My beautiful Simba beagle, but it's not mine. It is my son's, and this is a side note. But my son was going back off to college after break, and they would not allow him to take the beagle because they said he was just over 20 pounds, and you can only have one 20 pounds. And so my son is heartbroken, and we've got to somehow get this dog to him.
But now you've got the dog, so you're not so heartbroken. If I remember, you were telling me how much you love that dog.
Oh, I love it. He's laying right next to me right now.
So a lot of people.
There you go, Cassie. There's the link for it.
They may have found in the car. I mean, that's a great point. That would be a separate search warrant, since the car was located in Pennsylvania, and that is still sealed to my knowledge. We don't know what they got from inside the parents' house or the car, but I mean, it seems like they would have really tore that car apart, Jennifer, searching.
They would have, and that is one of those searches that is going to be evidence response, recovery team intense. They're going to be, looking at as an example, the pedal. The pedal for trace blood, anything that he could have had on his hands reached glove compartment, just putting his hand on that upholstery if it was not covered. You just cannot hide blood. You can't hide it, and it's going to be recovered if it was there.
A few people still talking about the knife, saying, couldn't they use a metal detector along the route? I mean, it was such a long way. I mean, I guess they could, but again, having driven it, and it's very, very hilly out there, snow off and on, it seems like that would be really a lot, but I guess it's possible.
I mean, it would be great to get the knife, certainly law enforcement would want that, but this case is made without the knife. It's, again, you want it, but it's not going to break the case not having it.
Yeah. Let's see. Someone says, Suzanne asked Jennifer, could he have changed his clothes before going into the apartment? And if so, could he carry stuff in, transfer stuff in, even if he changed his clothes?
Oh, absolutely he could. Unless every square inch of his body was covered. And even then, him taking off those clothes, there's going to be a transference. Pulling it off over his head or even down over his body, there's a possibility of transference from whatever was on there, his mask and his clothing, that would have gotten onto his body, and the other clothing that he would have had to have changed into, which is back to my point that I was surprised they didn't take any clothing. And I do agree. I think he did shed the clothes and he shed the knife.
So this is a really good one from Julie. What's the significance or difference between the field testing of the blood stain and not the other? Because it did only say for two of them, I think it was, that they put in parentheses field tested. why would they field test versus just bottling it up or whatever and like sending it to the lab?
Well, the smaller spot that they had, they did not want to encompass that with their field testing material. In other words, it would have probably covered it and not left a virgin sample for the lab. It sounded like, at least from the description, that it was a much larger area, so they could just take a small sample to do a field test on the corner, say, of a stain. And they did that just strictly to see that they had blood as opposed to paint or some other item. And I believe they took it because it would have field tested positive for blood. We do that all the time. We do it with drugs. We do it with, blood, and it's normal to field test it. You don't want to bring something back that ends up being, as an example, powdered sugar, and you think you have cocaine.
Yeah. Let's see what else there is here. The knife. A lot of people interested in the knife. Did anything else stand out to you, Jennifer, we didn't talk about? I know
not really. I think hopefully, everybody's concerned about there was a time, and me included, based on the fact that it seemed like a separate warrant language about being dangerous and danger to people. Do you know what I'm talking about, Brian? But that's because all that language occurred prior to the arrest. These warrants were written prior to the arrest. There wasn't anything separated out. It was part of this boilerplate language for the the warrant information. So does that make sense? I never understood why they took so long on the affidavit, since the other affidavit was released, and really that's the meat and potatoes, right, of this warrant as well. But I think it was just an administrative situation, and that's why we haven't seen Pennsylvania too.
Well, and there's so much we don't know. Like, obviously, we got the probable cause affidavit. We have this little search warrant, which gives us a few more details. But I think, like, we all forget sometimes, not you so much because you've done this more intimately, but been on the other side. But, like, there's still so much we don't know. That I guess a lot of it will come out of that preliminary hearing in June.
I 100% agree with you, Brian. But remember that probable cause hearing, or that's what we call it in the federal system, but they call it a preliminary hearing. It's going to be limited to the 19 pages, which is still a lot. Normally, a probable cause affidavit is about 3 to 5 pages, if that, because it's really just the lowest threshold of cause that you need. But all that aside, that's what they're going to be limited to examining. And the defense is going to try to get way outside of that, but they'll be reeled back in.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. Just reading here to see if there's anything else anyone had. I think that pretty much covers, though. I just wanted to get on here. Thank you, Jennifer, for doing it. I just wanted to explain to everyone. You can read the, if you want to read the full search warrant, I put a link on my Twitter. It's on newsnationnow.com. Again, a lot of it is repetitive from the probable cause affidavit, but there are some new nuggets in there for sure. You just kind of have to read it closely. So thank you for coming on, Jennifer.
No, thank you. And thank you, Twitter Nation. I love Twitter. I love what I love, Brian? Everybody involved, they are so invested. They know so many facts and so many details, and such big thinkers too. I just love it. They bring all their experience into these cases. And so big shout out for everybody who took the time to listen in tonight.
Yeah, they think of, everybody on here thinks of things that I would never think of in terms of questions. And like you said, everybody has their own life experiences that they bring to this, which really adds so much, it's like, we don't know everything, you know, and it's like you can't think of everything, and people really help out. We'll be on this obviously this week. If anything else develops, I was telling Jennifer I'm going to be going to South Carolina this weekend for the Alec Murdaugh trial, which, if you've been following that, is a really crazy story in South Carolina. That starts on Monday with jury selection, and we're doing a big special Sunday night on News Nation, which will be anchored by Marnie Hughes. That'll be part of that'll be Sunday night. So that'll be crazy, and that'll kind of take over my life starting next week. But we'll still be on this covering, you know, anything that comes out. I think it's going to be pretty slow until June, but you know, we may get little things here and there. So
like the Pennsylvania warrants, the car.
Yeah, the Pennsylvania warrants, and I was in touch with people in Pennsylvania today. It's hard. I mean, you know, in Idaho, it's hard obviously because of the gag order. And then in Pennsylvania, even people who can talk are nervous. So, you know, it's a tricky one.
Right. Well, I'll be tuning into your Sunday night special, and that's an important case. That's a crazy case. So I look forward to listening to that coverage, Brian.
Yeah, I need you to get up to speed on that, Jennifer, so I can ask you a million questions about it.
You bet. All right. Thank
All
you
right.
again.
Have a good night, Jennifer. Have a good night, everybody, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
That's cool. That's cool. That was a pretty good conversation there. Definitely enjoyed that. Ooh, I gotta check this real quick. 114 to 113 with 36 seconds left. Oh my gosh. All right, let me switch to some Scott Reich. We got some crime talk to check out real quick. Thank you for the link. Post his link in the chat there. I like that neon back there. Hopefully I can get that coffee neon soon.
Brian Kohberger messaging a victim. Well, it's now being alleged that Brian Kohberger messaged one of the female victims weeks before the quadruple slaying, and apparently, allegedly, sent more.
And he was in Akron, Ohio. I wonder why. Oh, that's his. So this is a new setup he's got going on.
More direct messages after she allegedly ignored him. Now, somebody in the police, speaking on anonymity with a magazine, said that Kohberger reached out to one of the 4 University of Idaho students over Instagram repeatedly in an attempt to get her attention. So Kohberger allegedly DM'd several times, but there was no response. So basically, it was apparently him saying, "Hey, how are you?" But he did it again and again. Unknown at the time which student Kohberger sent these Instagram messages to, or to who the investigators familiar with the case is that's talking. So this unidentified source said that whether the woman Kohberger allegedly messaged deliberately ignored him, or if the messages he sent went into her requested folder from people she wasn't friends with. Those messages don't appear as alerts and are hard to see. So we do know that the victim, Kaylee Gonsalves, is said to have complained of a stalker in the run-up to the killings, but it's unclear if there's any link between this and her murder. Now, Mr. Kohberger has maintained his innocence in the stabbing death of Kaylee, Madison, Chapin, and Zana. We'll give him the presumption of innocence as well. But some people are starting to state that the evidence against Kohberger is beginning to pile up. We'll wait and see. But of course, since there's a gag order and nobody can make comments whatsoever, we're left to listen to anonymous sources. So I'm a firm believer that you have to take anonymous sources with some skepticism. Otherwise, why wouldn't they go on the record? If they're not willing to go on the record, you know, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Now, the Instagram account in question apparently was viewed by this magazine prior to the site being taken down. Now, allegedly, Kohberger followed Mogan, Gonsalves, and Kernodle on various occasions. and apparently did not publicly interact with their accounts otherwise, according to this magazine. In these alleged messages now sent from this deleted Instagram, Kohberger appeared to be hoping to get the attention of the victim that he was targeting. The victim may have completely missed these messages. She may not have even seen them.
Is there screenshots of these messages?
Because they went into this message request, according to the source of this information. The DMs were allegedly sent in October, just weeks before the November 13th slayings. So when an Instagram user apparently doesn't follow back, attempts to send a message, it goes to a designated folder called message requests. These requests are located in a different place than the typical messages. The investigator apparently also has stated that they're still trying to determine how aware the victims were of this existence of these messages. The source also apparently said that Kohberger was definitely persistent in the message to the Idaho student, the unnamed Idaho student. Now, like I said, take this with a grain of salt, but we're putting this out there, but understand it's uncorroborated and it's from an anonymous source. You just, if they're not willing to go raise their hand and testify to in court or put their name behind it, like I said, you always have to take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly.
Now, let's just say hypothetically that everything about this is true. So this guy sees an attractive girl at school, tries to, find her on Instagram and sends her a message. Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? What's up? Doesn't necessarily mean that he killed somebody. Well, it necessarily wouldn't. I guess the prosecution's theory would be that, well, he was so obsessed with one of these young ladies that he became so upset and enraged that he was rebuffed by his alleged advance by sending a DM. I know that's the way young people communicate these days. They don't really ever talk to anybody because it takes actual guts to go talk to somebody face to face or pick up the phone and actually speak with them versus just being a keyboard warrior.
Warrior.
I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. And we're going to have to see if this gets corroborated. Now, all right, next. Well, Steve Gonsalves, the father of Kaylee Gonsalves, has shed a little more light on the 911 call placed by the roommates when they realized that something had gone terribly wrong. So we know there's been a lot of speculation about why the roommates didn't call 911 until around noon the day following the homicides. But Gonsalves gave an interview on Today, and he says, you got to remember these two girls were so upset that when they went outside after seeing this, one passed out and the other was hyperventilating, that the message wasn't clear enough for the 911 operator. Now, in the affidavit released, one of the surviving roommates said that she said a figure dressed in an all black and wearing a mask walked towards her. She then locked herself in her room. Police have still not identified a motive for this attack, and the probable cause preliminary hearing is not set until June 26th. Now, the upcoming preliminary hearing, where both sides can, in theory, present evidence, but it's going to be a discovery tool for the defense, and the prosecution is going to have to lay out their case to establish probable cause. Understand, at this point, the detective could literally get up and regurgitate what he put in his affidavit for the arrest warrant, and probable cause would be found. Probable cause is simply would a reasonable person believe that a crime was committed and that Mr. Kohberger committed it. Very low standard, not the same standard of proof at trial, which is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Somebody asked a question, how could you hold somebody when they haven't met their standard? The standard is low. The standard is very low throughout the proceedings, unless and until at trial the prosecution can prove each and every element of the offense beyond a reasonable doubt. If the government failed to prove just one element of the offense, it would be the solemn oath and obligation of the jury to find any defendant not guilty. However, if the prosecution proves their case beyond a reasonable doubt, it is the solemn oath and obligation for the jurors to find the defendant guilty, whether it's Mr. Kohberger or any defendant. We'll simply have to see how all this evidence comes out in the future. Stay tuned. All right, next on the docket, another guy named Brian. Coincidence? I don't know, but Brian Walsh was ordered held without bail in the disappearance of his wife this morning. Now, prosecutors revealed that he used his son's iPad to make some disturbing Google searches, including how to stop a body from decomposing.
Oh, my Lord.
How long before a body starts to smell? So Brian Walsh appeared somewhat stoned.
If you guys want to see, if anybody's hopping in late and you want to see everything that they fucking searched, go through the beginning of the show. It's crazy.
Faced at one point, shook his head as he was arraigned in the Quincy District Court on charges of murder and tampering with a body without a proper authority, stemming from the disappearance of his wife, Anna Walsh. The district attorney, Lynn Beeland, this morning laid out the Brian's sketchy behavior in the days after he claimed that Anna had in fact vanished in the early hours of New Year's Day, when the mom of three allegedly left his Cohasset home for a work emergency. Around 4:55 a.m., January 1st, Beeland alleged records indicate that Brian used his young son's iPad to Google how long before a body starts to smell and how to stop a body from decomposing. He also searched how long for someone to be missing to inherit. It's always about the money, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Anyway, apparently Anna supported the family, including the couple's three sons, aged 2 through 6, through her high-paying real estate gig. Brian, who pled guilty to federal fraud charges back in 2021, was under home confinement at the time of her disappearance. And the internet searches continued throughout the morning of January 1st with some other queries like, how long does DNA last? And dismemberment, and the best ways to dispose of a body. Those, I think, could be used against him, couldn't they? Well, after buying 3 carpets at Home Goods on January 2nd, he allegedly Googled hacksaw, best tool to dismember. Can you be charged with murder without a body? And can you identify a body with broken teeth? Kind of gives you some example of maybe what happened to Anna, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, the same day, the district attorney Beeland said that Brian went to Home Depot. Previous reports confirmed that he bought $450 in cleaning supplies. The summary also listed a Tyvek bodysuit, mops, and baking soda among some of the purchases. Now, on January 3rd, a man in a Volvo vehicle matching Brian's description was seen on surveillance placing heavy trash bags in dumpsters at apartment complexes in Broxton and Abington. The same day, he also allegedly made searches related to hair on a dead body and the rate of decomposition of remains in a plastic bag versus those in the woods, plus the impact of baking soda on the odor of decomposition. Now, by the time the investigators were alerted to Anna's disappearance and checked the dumpsters in question, the district attorney explained that the bags had already been transferred and destroyed. However, the same could not be said for the trash bags Brian was thought to have disposed of at his mother's apartment complex in Swemscott, where his phone placed him on January 5th. Now, police traced the bags to a trash.
So that's when he, quote, got lost on his way to his mom's house, is when he was dumping trash in other trash cans.
Transfer station in Peabody, which is apparently north of Boston. And then they found bloodstained carpet, hatchet, and hacksaws that were previously reported, according to the district attorney. Law enforcement found towels, slippers, tape, and a Tyvek suit matching the one that Brian allegedly purchased days earlier. Also among the rubbish was a Prada purse and hunter boots matching what Anna was said to have been wearing when she was last seen. Apparently, a COVID vaccination card in her name was also found as well. DNA analysis of the items revealed both Anna and Brian's genetic material on the bloody slipper and on the Tyvek suit. Now, the district attorney concluded her explanation of the alleged scheme by noting that on December 27th, just days before Anna went missing, Brian Googled, what's the best state for divorce for a man? Rather than divorce, it's believed that Mr. Brian Walsh killed and dismembered Anna Walsh and then discarded her body. The judge agreed with the prosecution's request to hold this other guy named Brian without bail. The suspect was then escorted from the courtroom. We've said it once, we'll say it again. The 12 undeniable truths from a criminal defense attorney it's always about the money. And when they say it's not about the money, then you know it's about the money. Listen, lots of people go through divorce. It sucks. It's expensive. But remember, you get a divorce. You don't go kill your spouse.
Right.
Please remember
Right.
that.
Right. Exactly. All right. There's a video that kind of goes into that. Let me see here. Let me get rid of that one. This is way down here. We watched this one. Yes, this one right here.
Brian Walsh in court this morning, now charged with the murder of his wife, Anna. Now, there's a psychological question here. We'll get to the evidentiary one. But how do you go from being a husband with a rap sheet that had nothing like this in it, there was nothing even really violent, to someone who would do the things that are alleged in this case, not just kill, but with a hatchet. And then not just dispose of the body, but chop it up and incinerate it. And then smile and smirk on a perp walk. I mean, he sounds like a psychopath, but, you know, other than him being a little bit of a con man, where'd this come from? I want to bring in somebody who gets to it, who understands it, has consulted and studied some of the biggest murder cases, forensic psychiatrist, Dr. Michael Wilner. Good to see you, Doc. Thank you for coming again so soon. You have helped me with this before. But yeah, okay, so he stole people's money. Okay, and he had a bad relationship with his dad. And to go from that to what is alleged in this case, which is straight up Hannibal Lecter stuff, how does one person get to that point?
Hannibal Lecter?
I think we need to separate the dismemberment of after the murder from what took place immediately before it, because there's emerging evidence of searches that he made, and none of the searches before the crime related to murder, and they related only to a divorce, but divorce in the terms that would be most favorable to him, and something that emerged on December 27th. And it was really only in the aftermath of the murder that there are a series of searches that relate to how he can eliminate traces of the crime. And your question is a significant one, because domestic homicides happen and people try to conceal the crime, but dismemberment is the kind of thing that we're used to associating with organized crime.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what enables people in organized crime to have family lives and yet to be so inhuman in how they relate to corpses. It's their level of detachment and a lack of attachment. And his family relationships.
Wow. 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to. How to throw away body parts.
Are important, that he shows the capacity to break away from his family to an extreme degree. And it shows that whatever his past, the quality of his attachment is very different from the quality of attachments that we may find. You want to call it psychopathic, you want to call it another name, but it takes an extreme level of detachment and self-absorption to be so determined to eliminate traces that you also eliminate your feelings.
Can you be charged with murder without a body?
Of emotional connectedness to the very person that you were married to, had children with, and perhaps unexpectedly, unanticipatedly killed.
That is a really interesting bifurcation there. What you were before and then what you decided to be after. But I have to tell you, I mean, you know, you and I aren't trying this case. You're the psychiatrist. I'm just hair and teeth. But I have never seen a search log more damning than the one that the police say they pulled off this guy. And Doc is right. On the 27th, which is before they believe the wife was missing, what's the best state to divorce for a man? Okay, that's, you know, people have trouble in their marriages. After, How long before a body starts to smell? How to stop a body from decomposing? How to embalm a body? Can you throw away body parts? What does formaldehyde do? How long does DNA last? How long for someone to be missing to inherit? Can identification be made on partial remains? How to clean blood on a floor? Luminol to detect blood? What happens when you put body parts in ammonia? Best tool to dismember. Can you be charged with murder without a body? I mean, I've never seen a more damning menu of search terms than what they have here. Of course, they don't have the body, but still, even with your explanation, Doc, tell us this before I let you go. This is so impersonal. I mean, this is his wife, the mother of his children that he's talking about. You know, this isn't, you know, and this is like, how do I get away with this 101 if I don't give a damn about who the person was? Is it that easy?
Well, I want to give you 3 points quickly, but it's very important to keep in mind for this case and another. When the unthinkable of violence happens, and we wonder what's underneath it from a personality perspective, the borderline personality type is violent in the context of detachment. The narcissistic personality type is violent in the context of control and ownership of someone as property. And the antisocial or the psychopathic person will become violent as an instrumental object aspect of material gain. Go through those searches again, and which one stands out? How long does a person have to be dead before you inherit? And maybe he was detached because his motivation to the marriage, the kinds of things that we might see he was drawn to, he may have been drawn to a trust fund or a substantial sum that was attached to her that would not have been available to him in divorce.
Hey,
Yeah, because he got shut out of his dad's fucking will and shit. He tried to scam that shit too. I mean, I don't understand though. The dude was almost getting I mean, he's in process of something else right now. That's why he's got an ankle monitor on him. All right, I'm going to switch to this video, JLR, about this 10 a.m. phone call. And this stuck out to me because when we were listening to the Drunk Turkey Show caller a couple nights ago, the mom that was talking stated that her daughter, she had got a notification at like 3 in the afternoon or something. And so she contacted her daughter, and her daughter, she said a couple times in that phone call that she placed that her daughter knew at 10 a.m. So this kind of stuck out to me about this 10 a.m. phone call because it takes me back to that conversation that we listened to about the mom. She stated like 3 times that her daughter knew at 10 a.m. And that's weird too because LE wasn't even contacted until 11:58 a.m. So I want to check this out and see what it says real quick. And I'll be ending the show here in a few. Boom. I need an intro.
Jonathan Lee Riches Investigates. I am covering the tragedy out of Moscow, Idaho. There is a Facebook group out there, and it is called Idaho College Students Case Discussion. And in this post, I want to share what the admin of this group said on a Facebook
Oh, thank you,
post.
Phantom. I appreciate it. Sorry,
So
I'm
an
not
admin
as
in a
energetic
Facebook
tonight
group
again.
called Idaho College Students Case Discussion made this post in their Facebook group. So a friend of the roommates had told her mom that she found out the girls was dead at 10 a.m., meaning Dylan was calling knowing they were dead already.
Yeah, this must be from that mom's phone call because this is the stuff that she was saying.
But still didn't report it to 12 noon. The house, she said, was a drug house known to sell drugs out of it, and that Dylan had to get rid of all the drugs before calling the cops. Y'all check out the post from YouTube. I posted it. Tells us more than LE has. The admin is making a bold claim stating that Dylan Mortensen called her mom at 10 a.m. on November 13th, 2 hours before the bodies were reported to authorities. A lot of people are commenting on that. It's starting to spread around. A lot of people sent me this post. Do you believe that? Do you believe that? I think that's a very bold claim. They're claiming, the admin is claiming they heard it through another person, second and third hand knowledge. That's how rumors spread. Don't know if it's true or not. That's why I'm asking all of you. Have you heard this? Say it is true. Do you think that matters? Say it was true. Say that Dylan made phone calls earlier that morning before the bodies were reported. Does that matter? Do you think that makes Dylan look bad? Do you think that makes Dylan look guilty or not? I want to know your thoughts on that. I'm suspecting, nevertheless, whether this post is legit, or is it just somebody trying to get their 5 minutes of fame by posting false information or information they just heard, rumors, and or purposely doing. But I suspect will be a state witness in this case against Brian Kohlberger, and I believe that Brian Kohlberger's defense is going to subpoena Dylan Morton's phone records to see if she did make any calls on her phone from the time the murders happened, a little bit after 4 a.m., all the way up to when the bodies were reported. So let me know what you think about that post. You think it's legit? You think it's just someone messing around?
Dude, listen to the phone call on the Drunk Turkey show, man. That's what they're referring to. Damn. Dude, that was like 3 days ago, bro. Shit. Oh, shit. That's funny. I need to start making some... I need to be able to have some more time to make edits and stuff. 3-5 minute videos, shit like that. We'll get time one day. Let me see. Car reveals snowplow injured his ribs. All right, I'm going to take a quick look real quick, and then I'm going to go ahead and end the show. There is Chronicles of Olivia, if you want to go check that out after this. Some new stuff coming out, I guess. I don't know. She knows the family personally, so maybe, who knows, maybe they'll be coming out with something new. I don't know, though. There's a gag order, and I don't even know if they're allowed to talk about stuff. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I'm sure they can. They did before, but I know that they don't want to jeopardize the case. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how much motivation they would have to, potentially mess up the investigation. Let me see. Reveals latest Brian Welsh details. Let me see. None arrested. Do you guys know of these connections here? Rose Perez and Carmen Fernandez. Yeah, that's a pretty good interview, Phantom. I do like her channel. We do use her videos. I do enjoy them. Especially that one phone call of the friend, which they pretty much confirmed all the posts we read about the, when he was like 16 and 17. I don't know. We can check these out tomorrow. I don't know who these names are or anything like that. Home, husband. Let's see. Google searches. Ooh, we'll check that out tomorrow too. Messaged repeatedly is American. Oh yeah, right here. we'll go ahead and watch this, and then maybe get into one more video. But we were talking about this earlier in chat.
A very scary moment for a Washington barista. This was caught on security cameras as it happened in Washington State. This is a drive-through coffee shop, so we want you to watch this in Auburn. Just after 5 o'clock in the morning, a man came through the drive-through line.
Oh, look at all that
grabbed
money.
A coffee. Instead, he grabbed the barista's arm through the window and appears to try to hook her arm with some sort of looped zip tie. You can see right there. He reaches for her. He tries to grab her with his other arm with whatever that instrument is. She's able to pull back, and then he quickly drives away. Well, the man's distinctive arm tattoo you saw right there, captured very clearly on camera. Well, after local police posted that video, they got this suspect within a day, right? So he is now going to be held accountable for his actions. Joining us live this morning to talk more about police's quick work and action, Auburn police spokesperson Colby Crosley. Thank you for being here. I saw this yesterday. Having lived in Washington, these bikini barista stands are all over. I know there have been some issues in the past. This is scary to see, though. It could have ended much, much differently. First of all, how'd you get the guy? Tell me more about the suspect.
So we had overwhelming support on our tip line. We put that video out because we knew it would gain a lot of traction. It's such a really good video, and it's great quality. It has such distinctive features when it comes to the suspect with the side profile and the tattoo. So we knew once we got that video, we needed to get it out to the public, because with those distinctive features, we know that someone out there had to know who this suspect was. When we put the video out there, we instantly started receiving tips to our tip line. People were commenting on social media, providing names. So we started going through a lot of the names, but one name started to appear more than the other names. And we started to run with that name and then kind of put the pieces together. So obviously with this video, and then we pulled video from the surrounding area, our detectives did a great job of working together on this to figure out this case. But the overwhelming support from the Auburn community calling in on this tip line and the determination to find this suspect really paid off.
Yeah, the public playing a big role. So who is this person? Has he been arrested, charged? What's his name? Has he done it before?
Wow.
So that's all part of our investigation. We haven't released the name yet. We are waiting for him to be formally charged. That should come sometime later this morning. As soon as he is formally charged, then we will release the name of this suspect. But from what we can find out, or what we kind of discovered through the tip line, and there were a lot of people that knew this individual and were able to quickly identify him, especially because of that tattoo that's on his forearm. But he is a bigger guy. He's over 6 foot. He's over 300 pounds. So this incident could have been a lot worse than what it was, and we're very thankful that it wasn't.
What was that other instrument that he had? He grabs her with his left hand and then reaches across and tries to get her with something else. What was that?
Yeah, we believe that was a zip tie, a looped zip tie device that he was trying to hook that employee with.
Had you seen any other attempted kidnapping, abductions similar to this in any other coffee stands around your area?
No, nothing quite like this. Obviously, this guy had this very planned out in his mind, and we haven't uncovered anything of this nature as of recently. So this was a one-of-a-kind kind of incident.
Well, and as I mentioned, having lived in Washington State, working in Seattle for almost a decade, I was familiar with these barista stands. They're bikini barista stands. They can be targets for predators because of what the baristas are wearing. Nobody should have to go through what this young woman did. How's she doing?
Because of what?
Obviously, I can't speak to the victim. I know that was injured. There were minor injuries. Obviously, this guy had this very planned out in his mind, and we haven't uncovered anything of this nature as of recently. So this was a one-of-a-kind kind of incident.
Well, and as I mentioned, having lived in Washington State, working in Seattle for almost a decade, I was familiar with these barista stands. They're bikini barista stands. They can be targets for predators because of what the baristas are wearing. Nobody should have to go through what this young woman did. How's she doing?
Obviously, I can't speak to the victim. I know that if she was injured, there were minor injuries, but
I
obviously
guess.
this is a very
it's
traumatizing
January,
experience.
right?
So I can't really speak to that end of it. I'm sure that she's still
I don't know.
dealing with this, and will probably deal with this for a long time.
like, what?
You know, this situation could have been so much worse, and we're happy that it wasn't. We're happy that when she was able to pull away, the suspect drove off.
All right. Well, really incredible police work, fast action, and to the public for being aware and alert and calling it in. I'm glad it ended the way it did. And this person is off the street. We'll be following it once you are able to publicly name who it is and the past. Thank you for watching.
Huh. That's interesting. All right. One more quick scroll through here. Yeah, we'll go ahead and watch this because I touched on it earlier in the show and I haven't got to it. I'll go ahead and play this and then I'm going to end the show for the evening. We'll see what comes out tomorrow.
News Nation's entertainment contributor Sam Bin joins us now. Sam, the 911 call has been released to the public. Talk about what we hear inside of that.
What I think you hear first and foremost, Nicole, is the urgency that the 911 operator recognizes, boy, this is not a good situation and needs to get information as quickly as possible. The housekeeper not really able to provide it.
Probably trying to kidnap her. Yeah, probably trying to kidnap her. And who knows? You know what I'm saying? I mean, hell, I heard of people even getting, just walking from the fucking mall, getting fucking abducted.
Lisa Marie's ex-take
Shit's
phone.
crazy.
And then we also learned what we already knew. The house was in a secure community behind guard gates with a in-person guard, so that there was going to be no delay for the ambulance's arrival. And the ambulance came as quickly, was dispatched almost immediately once the 911 operator realized what was going on. And paramedics came to the house through that guard gate as quickly as they could. All of it in response to what turned out to be, obviously, a fatal event for Lisa Marie.
He probably figured he could just pull her through the window.
All reports say that Presley died of cardiac arrest, but we also know that her exact cause of death has yet to be.
Foremost, Nicole, is the
Well,
urgency.
He's probably just trying to pull her through the window, and I'll tell you, if he wouldn't have had his right hand on whatever thing he had in his hand, and if he would use both of his hands, he probably could have ripped her out of that fucking window quick as shit.
That guard gate as quickly as they could. All of it in response to what turned out to be, obviously, a fatal event for Lisa Marie Presley.
And Sam, all reports say that Presley died of cardiac arrest, but we also know that her exact cause of death has yet to be determined and that more testing has to be done.
This is a phrase I have not heard before, but those who are experienced with coroner reports know it, that the coroner's decision has been, quote, deferred. So he's probably waiting the results of more testing, and we'll find out. But it does appear that it would be cardiac related, certainly. We do know that her heart stopped, was revived on several occasions. Some reports are now saying by the time she arrived at the hospital, her heart had stopped again, and basically, such a harsh phrase, but that she was brain dead upon arrival at the hospital.
Wow.
And Sam, let's talk about funeral plans. We know services will be held at Graceland this weekend. What else are you learning?
There will be a public memorial at Graceland this Sunday. And, Lisa Marie was just at Graceland, of course, to celebrate her father's birthday with the fans who, go to Graceland every single day. Also, she'll be buried, as has been reported. It's sort of a circular series of headstones. Her father across the circle from her, next to her son, Benjamin. I think it'll be a very emotional public sequence. This family features a lot of premature deaths, a lot of heart problems within the family, people not living long past their 40s or 50s. Now Lisa Marie joining that essentially sad parade of Presleys who have passed too soon.
Absolutely. Yeah, her death shocked so many people. All right, wow. Sam, thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to
Damn. Pretty much on arrival. That stinks. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight and going through the stuff. We went over the search warrant for Kohberger at the beginning of the show. I did put links in the chat as well, and if anybody wanted it, we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll see what comes out tomorrow. I was surprised the search warrant even came out today. I wasn't even expecting it. But we'll see what comes out tomorrow. We'll get through most of this other stuff, and I've pretty much got a good chunk of these emails knocked out. So we'll go through most of the emails, get the rest of those knocked out of the way. Thanks for being patient, everybody. And good night, everybody. Peaceful and positive evening. Good sleep. Stay warm. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.